Hey there, and welcome back to Talking High Performance with Belle. And I'm so glad you're tuning in because today's topic is all around the one skill that separates emotional chaos from calm confidence. It's the one mindset shift that can elevate your leadership, your parenting, the way you play sport on the field, and your relationships. And it's the ability to help you keep moving towards the life you actually want. We're talking about the power of the pause, that moment between being triggered and choosing how to respond. Because that moment and that gap, that's where peace lives. And if you haven't tuned into my episode prior, I encourage you to have a listen to that where we were talking all about protecting our peace. But that gap and that moment, it's where power is reclaimed. And it's where the future you is quietly being built, moment by moment. So why does this matter? And I want to start with something that's real to all of us. We live in a fast-paced, reactive world. Opinions are flying, DMs are coming in, expectations are being thrown at you from every direction. And if you're somebody who deeply cares about people, about doing well, and about showing up, then you're at risk of reacting too quickly, too often, and from a place that doesn't reflect who you are. And here's what I've noticed after coaching high performers for years. The ones that grew the fastest, who stay calm under pressure, who maintain trust in tough conversations, they all share this one particular skill. And that skill is they know how to pause. Because if you're always reacting, you're not choosing, you're surviving. And leadership or true leadership isn't about being super reactive all the time. It's about responding with intention. So let's quickly look at what's happening in your brain when this happens. So when you get triggered, there's a part of your brain that handles threat detection fires up. And it doesn't know the difference between a life or death emergency or a passive-aggressive email from your boss, or something that is really starting to trigger you. So to your brain, a threat is a threat, and it sends out a signal to fight, flee, or freeze. And that's why our hearts race. That's why we snap or why we shut down. Or send the message that feels good until you read it back and cringe. But here's the great news. You're not stuck with that default, because the other part of your brain is the part that's responsible for logic, problem solving, and conscious choice. It can override that reflex, but only if you pause long enough to let it in. So the real work becomes creating that moment, creating that pause, that breath, that space to see if this perceived threat is actually really a perceived threat, and allowing our logic then to help us take over. So a strategy that I use with both myself these days and with clients, it's really simple, but it changes everything. And it's all around a power pause. So let's break it down. Firstly, when something happens, when you get emotionally activated, don't try and suppress it. Name the trigger. Just name it. So say to yourself, I know I'm getting triggered right now, or this person is triggering me. Or even better, name the emotion. I'm frustrated. I'm dismissed. I feel out of control. I feel disrespected. Why? Because when we can name it, it reduces the power. And neuroscience shows us that labeling an emotion activates a different part of our brain. And it reduces that surge that we have to react. And this step then brings awareness. And awareness is the first step to leading our own lives and the first step in leadership. So that's the first step, name it. The second step is feel it without feeding it. Let yourself feel it, but don't fuel it. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They either suppress their feelings or they feed the fire. They justify it, they spiral. And instead, just breathe. Feel what you're feeling. Sometimes you can put a time limit on it. Feel that particular thing for 10 minutes and then decide it's time to move on. Because you don't want to just not feel it. So it could be a pause and taking a long, slow breath. It could be putting your hand on your heart. It could be reminding yourself just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to act on it. And that's what most people do. They act on it because they feel it. But when you can pause, that's emotional maturity, and that's when the high performance mindset comes in. So it's not about pretending that something doesn't affect you or about blocking it out. It's about choosing not to give it control. That's the second part. So first is trigger, name it, feel it. And the third is ask yourself, what's the cost if you react? And this is where you bring your future self into the moment and ask yourself, will this response move me forward? Or will it protect me or drain my energy? Will this action build trust, or maybe it will break trust? Because in the moment it might feel good to fire off the text or to clap back or to vent or to send that passive aggressive email back. But what happens after? And asking ourselves this question helps interrupt the pattern and forces you to zoom out. And when you can pause long enough to ask, is this worth it? You actually realize most of the time it's not. So that's the third one. And the fourth one is where everything shifts and you can ground back into identity. So this is all around asking yourself, who do you want to be in this moment? So if the best version of you, the future, the calm, the clear, the confident, the intentional person was there, what would you do? Not the tired you, not the emotional you, not the frustrated you, but the aligned you. And this is how you begin to build your identity. Not just when it's easy, but also when it's hard. Because every time you pause and you choose character, or the character you want to be over chaos, you become that version more consistently. And that all of a sudden becomes your second nature. And lastly, choose a calm, clear, and controlled response. This could look like taking time before responding. That's been a challenge of mine, or saying, let me think about it and get back to you. Or even sometimes choosing silence instead of reacting. So you're allowed to take a pause. Even if somebody wants an instant reaction, you don't owe them an instant reaction, especially if it costs your peace. So sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not react straight away. And that's not avoiding, that's just getting aligned to how you want to react. So if I share a story of my own life that happened to me a couple of months back, someone sent me a message that I felt was loaded with judgment, but masked as feedback. And I started typing on my phone, and let me tell you, it was a masterpiece, but in the wrong way. And I was ready to press send. But something said to me, wait. And I walked away, took a breath, had a sleep of it, and asked myself then the next day, is this the response that I want to send? Would I be proud of this response? And what would the best version of me do in this situation? Because in the moment we can feel like we have a lot to say, but the next day sometimes it just doesn't matter as much. So I didn't send it, I deleted it. And it felt powerful, not because I had the last word, but because to me that was the right one. I didn't need to respond. But that moment of pause, it built more self-trust in me than any win that week. And that's what I want you to think about. So as we wrap this session up today, I want to leave you with one truth. You are not your reaction. You are who you choose to be when you pause. That's when your identity is formed, and that's where emotional self-leadership lives. You don't need to yell to be powerful. You don't need to react straight away to be powerful. And you don't need to send a passive email back to be powerful. You don't need to control others to feel strong. You just need to stay connected to yourself and protect your energy like it fuels everything else, because it does. So this week, I encourage you to try a couple of things. Choose one moment to pause instead of react, and walk through those 5 steps. Name it, feel it, question it, anchor it, and then choose. And then, if you feel like it, DM me and let me know how it felt to respond like a high performer. So if this episode helped you, share it with someone who's working on responding instead of reacting. And for everybody, including myself, this is a work in progress. Because when we can do this, we begin to build something powerful, and it starts with the way that we lead ourselves when no one's watching. So until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life every day. Your coach, bell.
Imagine waking up each day with the unwavering confidence that comes from living your most authentic and purposeful life. Picture yourself breaking free from the chains of doubt and uncertainty and stepping into a world where your potential knows no bounds. But let's be honest, we've all been in a place where we don't feel that way, and for you, that may be now. At some point or another, we face challenges that weigh us down. It may be that you feel like you're lacking purpose and direction. It could be that you've spent so long serving those around you that you no longer know who you are anymore or what you enjoy. Maybe you're paralyzed by indecision and you're unsure of what you should be doing or even what the best next steps are. You may even be questioning your self-worth and capabilities. You may have these big goals, but that dreaded imposter syndrome comes in and you don't feel like you measure up to others or if you're even good enough. And maybe you lack the energy to even get started. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. I've walked that very path. As a business owner and a mum of 4, I've juggled numerous roles, faced countless hurdles, and emerged stronger than ever. So if any of these resonate with you, you feel stuck while the world moves forward. You feel like you're losing that spark that wants to find you, and you're yearning for fulfillment in the day-to-day grind. You don't want a good life, you want one that's great. And you feel like you're isolating yourself and you're longing for a deeper connection, then it's time for a change. It's time to take the Becoming You course, a powerful opportunity to rewrite your narrative and create the future that you want, that lights you up, and in doing so, makes the lives of those around you even better. This isn't just another course, it's your ticket to unlocking the doors that have been holding you back. It's about waving goodbye to the fear of failure and having the courage to take that leap. It's about feeling the rush of motivation propelling you towards your dreams. And as someone who's evolved from owning businesses to becoming a high-performance coach, my journey was sparked by my own personal struggles, including severe postnatal depression after the birth of my twins. But amidst those challenges, I uncovered my authentic purpose, to empower others to unleash their hidden potential, to know that there's more in them, and if you put in the work, you can achieve the extraordinary and join the top 15% of individuals in the world. So imagine a life where you're not only surviving, but you're thriving. And that's what Becoming You is all about. It's about discovering your purpose, conquering your fears, and waking up excited for the journey ahead. It's about building unbreakable relationships and finally taking those bold steps towards your dreams. So if this sounds like something that you want for your life, then this is your chance to become the fearless, unstoppable version of yourself that's been waiting to emerge. With step-by-step guidance, reflections to solidify your transformation, and a final challenge to propel you forward, the Becoming You course is the catalyst for your breakthrough. So are you ready to rewrite your story? Are you ready to embrace the authentic and empowered you? If you are, then enroll in the Becoming You course today, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and limitless possibilities together, and I'll see you on the inside.